Twice now you've made me taste bitter defeat.
Welcome back, everyone, to our video game book club, the final part of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. This is, again, it's a big part. A lot of stuff happened.
Snake Eater.
A lot of stuff. More stuff happened for some than others. Some people got to
not the game's fault.
Double dip in this. No, somebody's fault, or something's fault. Steam's fault. But we're here. We weren't sure we were going to be here this week, but we are here this week. So, Christian, with that,
these notes are freshly typed up today because I was under the impression that we weren't doing this. So
I was up till 1 a.m. last night playing.
There's no reason to do that to yourself. But
the only thing I will say is that just so everybody knows, something happened with my cloud save, and I played all of part 2 on PC. I went to pick up on Steam Deck. I think what happened is maybe it just grabbed my last save from Steam Deck and overwrote my PC cloud save for some reason, which shouldn't be the way that it happens.
Well, it could be that your PC cloud save didn't finish uploading the last time you played it there.
Sure.
So then when Steam pulled that one down, you then turned your computer on and it probably pulled that one down too.
So I wasn't mad. I was sad because I was really enjoying this game. I was like, I don't know. I'm just going to watch it. And Preston's like, well, why don't we push this off a week so you can play it? And I was like, I don't know that I want to play 4 hours plus the final, which is another 3 hours. Luckily, second time through, that 4-hour playthrough took me an hour and 49 minutes.
Yeah, you skipped
because I knew exactly where to go.
Exactly what to do.
Skipped all cutscenes. Yeah, I knew where to go. All the boss fights were way faster.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So I did finish it. So here we are. So yeah, with that, I'm glad I finished. I'm very glad I finished it, by the way.
Very happy for you.
But with that, Christian.
All right, let's do it. So we make our way inside the waterfall cave here after we got done with from the last part. Now, did both of you remove the transmitter?
Yes.
Or
so in my original playthrough I didn't, but I remember you saying hey, you can heal and you can remove it, and I was like, oh, why don't I do it? And it's good that I did because I learned that it does something special for you.
Oh, does
you
it?
Remove it?
Yeah, if you leave it in, it does. You get 2 different scenes. So in this particular instance, when we are making our way to the waterfall cave, if you have the transmitter on, the Ocelot unit will be roaming around the forest looking for you.
Okay, so I did not remove it fast enough then. Because the Ocelot unit was coming after me, and after they shot me a bunch, I'm like, let's clean up these bullet wounds. I'm like, oh, there's a transmitter here. That's funny. And popped it out.
Well, you're going to be bummed then for this next part, but we'll get there. So what happens is, so you get through there, and then when you walk through the waterfall, Eva either just jumps through the waterfall, or you hear her beat the shit out of everybody that's outside, and then she jumps through the waterfall. And once we're in there, we get a scene with Snake sort of checking out the cave. And then we see some of Eva's gear inside with a fire that was recently put out. She comes running through the waterfall. And then she says, "Nice to meet you, Snake. I'm Tatiana." And then gives us our equipment back. Snake then tells Eva that she could use a towel. She says that we could too. And then we get a save screen. And it fades out, fades back in to Snake just going to town on some grilled snakes. And he asks Eva if she is hungry. And she says that she's not, but that she could eat him, and then crawls over and sits next to Snake and then asks him for a sushi date. Snake does not know what sushi is, but when she describes it to him, he says that it would be great because then he could test out his survival techniques, and they both just laugh.
And she said, she has this really great line. I can only assume part of this was the translation piece. She was like, I hear it's made from raw fish. I was like, well, no, it's just raw fish. I don't.
Yeah, she goes, it's made from raw fish, and then he goes, raw fish would be great for my survival techniques. But yeah, so then the theme song breaks out here, and it's Snake looking at a butterfly through his, one good eye now, and he tries to capture it in his hand, but he misses it here because his depth perception obviously is now off. And he looks away, sort of looking dejected. But right then, Eva gives Snake a hug and then thanks him for saving her life earlier in the prison. And she says that she'll be his eyes from now on. The two then start to share sort of like a little romantic-ish moment. But then Snake pushes Eva away and tells her that he's okay. 'Cause he's still got one good eye and he can still fire a gun. Now, this scene, Preston, if you had left the transmitter in from here, this is where you would have gotten an extra scene. Same with you, Alex, or anything. But there's a moment here where if the transmitter is still in you, Eva says, "Hey, I think you have something stuck on you. Let me help you." So what then turns into is so Snake and Eva's trying to get it out of Snake, but the background, all you see is the background of the cave, and there's shadows on the fire, from the fire, and they're doing WWE wrestling moves on each other, and Snake is tapping out, and she's got him in a full Nelson choke and all this other stuff.
That's funny.
And you hear the ring bell ring and all sorts of stuff, but then either way they get it out, and then there's that. So that's only a special scene, but either way, after that one, you cut to the two of them getting ready to leave the cave, and Snake asks Eva if she still has the explosives that she stole from the fortress, and she says that she does, and that it's C3, which is a new potent explosive from the West. She then tells us that there is a trick to using it where you have to wait before all of them are placed before detonating them, because they'll all go off on the same time with the new, the plastic sort of explosive part. They then devise a plan for Snake to place all the explosives on all 4 of the fuel tanks inside the hangar to be able to take out the entire lab and the Shagohod all at once. Snake then asks Eva if she still has the data that Sokolov gave her, and she says that yes, then it was her mission from Khrushchev, but tells us not to worry because she still hasn't forgotten about her other mission of helping us. She then tells us that if we use the ladder directly behind us, it will put us right back in the lab, and we can get in like we did before. She then tells us that she's going to take half of the C3 with her so that she can secure their escape route by placing it on the rail bridge leading out of the area so that nobody can follow them. Snake then tells Eva to watch out for Ocelot, and she tells him that she's still in the Colonel's good graces, and so she's not worried about it, especially because there isn't a man alive that can resist her charms except for Snake. Eva then goes to get on her bike and leaves, and we get a little bit extra backstory on Eva here, where Snake comments that she seems like she was born on a motorcycle, and Eva says that if she didn't get to ride every day, she doesn't think that she'd go on living, because while she's riding and the wind hits her, it helps keep her mind off of the pain of having to pretend to be someone else that she's not, and that it's the only time where she can be the real her. And then the only time she plans on getting off her bike is if she falls in love or if she falls dead. And then Snake asks her what her real name is, and she doesn't give it up, but she does take a picture of Snake with her button camera and says that it's insurance to make sure that we don't double cross her. And then she rides right out of the waterfall, and then we begin our climb up to the fortress. So then from here, it's gameplay stuff, right? So we're climbing up, getting through the little tunnel area, getting back into the fortress, back to the lab. Now, here, if we go back to the locker where we shoved old boy into, there's 2 outfits you can find in here. One is the Raiden outfit with the poster of Raiden still there, so you can get his sneaking suit from 2. On the opposite side, if you open up the locker from the opposite side of him, is one of the maintenance uniforms that you can use to just make it so you can waltz through this next part, no problem. And so you can do both of those things, but then we make it to the hangar, and as soon as we get in the door, we get a call from the Major and Signet, who reiterates the mission to us that we discussed, but then also basically says, hey, when you plant these, you have 20 minutes to get out of there, and then these are going to explode. So 20 minutes. Do not forget 20 minutes. And that obviously comes into play later.
And oh boy, does that game not let you forget the countdown.
Yes, it does a couple different things here. So we plant all the bombs in this area so you can either go through and take everybody out. I basically just used the M2 and knocked everybody out and then just ran and did it all. But if you're using the maintenance uniform, you can sort of go around like you normally would and do that.
Now, I thought I messed up because the first time I try it, he puts the C3 on the ground. I'm like, fuck. And then I go to the second one, and he puts the C3 on the ground again. Like, I planted 2 of them. Like, okay, it should be good. And the third one I did, I was pressed up against, and he puts it behind him, like on the actual tank. I'm like, man, I hope this doesn't fuck me in the long run. But luckily, it was just fine because it still blows up right.
No, it just needs to be anywhere in the vicinity of the fuel tank. It's fine. But yes, we get after we pass the plant, the last bomb there, we get a scene with Snake pulling out the last part of his clay explosive. I love this scene. The clay explosive that Eva gave him, and he turns the heart that she gave him into a butterfly and then tosses it into the air, and then catches it this time and then slams it up against the explosive and says, "Gotcha this time," and then places on the explosive, which means Snake's back, baby. He's locked in. We then call the Major to tell him that we're all done and we are heading out now to meet up with Eva. However, on our way out, we hear Vulcan call for us with him and Ocelot standing over Eva, who was knocked out on the ground. Boss then shows up behind us and gives us another ass whooping. And at the end of it, Ocelot has us at gunpoint and we are captured. So right here, throughout all of this, there are going to be little extras where if you tap the R1 button, you will actually see the Sorrow hovering behind certain characters and holding up a clock saying, "This is the current countdown. This is how close you are to exploding."
And
that will
boy,
happen.
I would have loved to have known. Did they do that based on like the cutscenes, and they're like, this would be funny to put in there, or did Kojima have the idea was like, we're gonna make sure these cutscenes last the exact amount of time, like we need to fill it right and like create the sense of drama? Like, did he drag out the cutscene to make it last that time, or do you think like as the cutscene was going on, he had the fun little like, oh, let's put the timer there just to do?
I think both things happened. Or like, I don't think that he dragged out any of these cutscenes. Like, I think that everything that happens is them explaining and doing certain things. But I do think that they also made sure to make it so that they last exactly as long as they're supposed to. But yeah, so we then cut to Vulcan telling us that they captured Eva snooping around the vault and they found her with the Philosopher's Legacy on her, and he pulls it out to show everyone. And both Ocelot and Boss actually glance at each other right when he does this. He says that, Ocelot tells us that it wasn't, he goes, it's the smell that gave her up. No. Vulcan says something before this. Vulcan then says what a great woman she was and that it almost pains him to have to kill her before kicking her in the stomach to wake her up. Eva then mumbles something under her breath to try and get Vulcan to lean in so she can use the kiss of death, but Vulcan catches her and destroys the device by shocking her, and then calls her a dirty whore. And then says that he should have known she was the spy because Sokolov never could have handled somebody like Eva. Yeah, Vulcan then explains the Philosopher's Legacy again, but he says that it's on the microfilm that he holds is the exact location where all of the funds are. He then goes on to say that the reason the boss joined him originally was because all of the infighting between the philosophers have caused a rift around the world. But with the Shagohod, the Cobras, and the Legacy, Vulcan was going to heal that rift and make it so that the whole world was controlled under the Philosophers organization again. He then tells the boss to hold on to the Legacy for him, and she does, but also mentions that we wouldn't have come in here without a reason, and says that she's going to go look for any explosives or sabotage while also taking care of Eva. However, when she picks up Eva, she says, leave everything to her, and then the two walk off. And the boss tells Vulcan to fight like a warrior, and then nods to Ocelot, and not Ocelot sort of nods back to her. Ocelot then walks up in front of us and asks Vulcan if he can be the one to fight us because he's been waiting for revenge so long. Vulcan tells him no, and then says that he will be the one to fight us, and that Ocelot will sit there and watch. Ocelot then pulls a gun on everybody, but Vulcan shoots a blank at him, and he backs off and tells us that it's time to get started, and starts to lower the maintenance floor, and that this is going to be a fight, a once-in-a-lifetime battle, and that we should make it a good one. And then he gets into his battle form, which is basically his uniform's off. He's in sort of like his version of a sneaking suit, and then he's got bullets, all wrapped around him. Yeah. And Ocelot tosses us our equipment, and then the fight starts. So from here, we're fighting Volgan. He has a couple different moves. He'll shoot electricity at you that you have to dodge under and get behind. He has.
Did you ever successfully do that? Because I tried bunches and got hit every time.
Yeah. So your problem is that you have to put your. You can
listen to the codex, and they would tell you to put your gun away because he comes at you with that lightning attack when you have a gun out.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
it wasn't.
I
It
found
wasn't. I didn't. I never. I beat him without.
Or you can find out by looking at a guide. Like
No, I
Preston
found
did.
out in the
Was it-
codex. I did pull up the codex. Stop it.
Because the game mode we're playing on in easy, it never did enough damage to kill me, so I never had to
No.
redo it.
But it's annoying.
So, I was just like, so I never had to use the codex. But I was like, how the f do I miss this like freaking attack,
Yeah.
man? So okay.
Just put away your gun.
But we get him to the halfway mark, and then we get a scene here where Vulcan tells Ocelot just to shoot us, and Ocelot refuses. It says that he promised the boss that he would not intervene, and he tells Vulcan to fight like a man. Vulcan then starts to get pissed. Before he can do anything, the explosives warning comes over the loudspeaker, and he tells Ocelot to find the bombs, and Ocelot sort of just begrudgingly walks off, but not before giving us his patented little finger guns, and then he leaves. And our fight continues. So from here, he only has a couple extra moves. He has some moves here where he will put electricity across the floor, and you'll roll over those. And the other one is he'll shoot out a bunch of bullets from him all at once. If you just lay on the ground, you'll dodge all of those, and then you can continue to do the rest of the fight. And we should mention you have 10 minutes to beat him, obviously, because that's how much time is left on that counter. But yeah, so we beat him, and then from right there, Snake immediately starts on his way out. If you do this part non-lethally, you get a special camo, which is Snake dressed up in all Russian, like the Soviet Union colors. So it's like big red, blue with like a hammer and sickle over one side. And that actually comes into play in this next part with the escape scene, where if you are wearing that during the escape scene, there will be like 75% less enemies on screen, and almost none of them will shoot at you during that time.
Can I say I did not know that there was a special ability to that suit, but I got it because like American on the back and Soviet on the front, and I was like, this is hilarious. And I made it to the point where Preston goes, "Oh, you got to play it because I want you to do the escort scene." I was doing the escort scene, and I was like, I guess I'll have to talk to Preston tomorrow and figure out like what the big deal
Oh, because
is
that
here.
keeps them from stopping you there
Yes.
too? Okay.
The suit is easy mode, for the rest of the thing here.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So Snake then makes his way out of the hangar just in time for Eva to pull up on the bike, and the two narrowly escape the explosion. And Snake asks how she was able to get there, and she says that the boss is actually the one who saved her. We then tell her it's time to step on it so we can get out of there because we have one less job to do. And Eva tells us that the boss is waiting for us at the lake where we were supposed to make our escape. She then tells us that she doesn't want us to fight the boss, but she understands that she will never understand the relationship between us, and says that she has a message from the boss telling us that she has never seen somebody with such clear eyes. We then make our leave, but right before we do, the Shagohod breaks out of the hangar with Vulcan piloting it and telling us there is no escape. So for this next section, it is just us escaping the whole military base and just trying to leave, right? So the Shagohod is chasing you here. You cannot do any damage to it, and the only way you can move yourself forward is by taking out any of the people in front of your guys' escape route so that you and Eva can continue to make your escape. So after the first section here, Snake and Eva come up with a new plan to lure the Shagohod to the bridge and blow it up with it on the bridge to destroy it. And as we make our way... as we start to make our way, we get a cool scene of... sorry. Nope, I am losing where I was at. There we go. Destroy it. So as we make our way to the bridge, we get a cool scene of Ocelot and us having a cool bike fight up until we end up losing him in the flaming warehouse to continue to make our way to the bridge. I actually love this scene where Ocelot and you guys are just going back and forth. It's like this sort of like little fight. It's just more Ocelot stuff is always good. So then we have the runway battle with the Shagohod. So similar here, we're just driving and going through, and then this next section sees Volgin using the rocket boosters to try and crush us, and so we have to use the RPG on the treads to slow him down before at the last second getting over to being able to go over to the rocket bridge. Once there, we wait for the Shagohod to cross the bridge and shoot at the bombs with Eva's directions. And then we then get a scene with the bridge collapsing and the Shagohod starting to fall into the river. But the last second, Volgin detaches all of the armor to lose the weight and survives the fall and is able to land up on the other side where we are. And this is where we actually are now able to start doing some damage to the Shagohod. And so this one it's Eva driving around, and then you are shooting at the treads to stop the Shagohod in its place so that Eva can then drive you to where all that stuff was connected on the Shagohod. And so there's this little weak point here in the back. You can shoot at that and then actually do some damage to it. And you just sort of rinse and repeat that for that whole section. And after we get the health down, the Shagohod is, sustained a lot of damage and barely able to power itself anymore. So Volgin gets out and connects directly to the Shagohod and starts to pilot it with his electricity powers. And now we get the final fight with Volgin. So this is similar to the first one, except instead of shooting at the weak point in the Shagohod, you are shooting at Volgin using a sniper rifle of any kind or anything like that. And Eva is driving around distracting him while you're just on the ground straight up. And so at the end of this fight here, Volgin gets struck by lightning and then set on fire and finally dies with bullets just sort of randomly going off all around him. And Snake and Eva hug and say that it's finally over, but the moment is cut short by soldiers still pursuing them. And now it is time for us to make it towards the lake. So I'm going to pause here as one of the little stopping points. How is everybody feeling with the different fights and everything up to this point?
Felt good about it. I really enjoyed the Volgin, what's his name again? Volgin. I really enjoyed the Volgin boss battle. I thought that was a lot of fun. That was a really good touch with the whole gun, and I did listen to the codex to find out about it. But yeah, it's to be able to drop your gun, get behind him, just kind of dodge some of his QCQ attacks. I thought CQC, yes, CQC attacks.
QCQ.
I'm just great with names and things. But yeah, then you bust out of there. The only thing I was kind of down on a little bit is you're in the bike with her and Eva, and you're sitting there trying to shoot people. I'm trying to shoot them with the AK, but to look down the sights of the AK, obviously you would press the left bumper to look down the sights, but when you have
be the right bumper,
you're pressing the bumpers in whatever sequence you need to, but you can't aim down the sights and shoot. So for any time I press those bumpers, it wasn't pulling the gun up for me to aim. It would only do that when I hit the shoot button, finally, and then it would pull it up. The AK. Gun?
Oh, weird. So, because I know the CQC, it's the right bumper to pull up the thing, but for the RPG and the sniper, it's the left bumper.
CQC is the combat.
The
CQC is the hand-to-hand combat, close quarters combat.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Well, that's the put him to sleep
pistol
gun.
Yeah,
the pistol. That's all. That's all RB, but the big guns are LB. I didn't shoot the AK
so
at all.
I was using the LB
because
anytime I would shoot, it would finally bring it up. So I'm trying to kind of aim at the guys who are driving past us, and as soon as I would try to want to aim at them, I would have to press a shoot button, and it would all of a sudden pull up, which kind of messes with your camera a little bit. So that just kind of had me some issues. Don't get me wrong, played on easy mode, so I had no problem taking care of everybody. There's infinite ammo, but still, it was just something to where it's man, I wish there was a better aim down the sights for this AK right now, and maybe because my eye is gone and I can't aim down the sights as well now.
So I don't think it's that. I think so. This could be another situation of you can change with the sticks. It might have maybe got pressed inadvertently, or I don't know, but the you can change the camera mode again, just like you did in the other, you can in the other sections, how you got stuck with the old camera view in the.
I'm still going first person
in the Fury
because I want to see the aim on the sight, so that doesn't change when you change the camera modes, right?
Well, I think it's well, it can, because if you use the old one, it would make it so that you can't shoot. I don't know what was happening with it, because
I just haven't been a problem with that. That's the only problem I have.
Yeah,
with this
I was
entire
able
part.
to aim and not shoot, and then like shoot like there.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but
Yeah, I was having a problem figuring that one out. It was a little more confusing for me, but all in all, I still made through it just fine. The whole ending battle with him was nice. And the him with the bullets acting as fireworks as you're having that little moment with Eva was funny. But yeah, I mean, I'm liking all this. I'm liking this part of it as well. I don't feel it's being as bombastic as Metal Gear 2 was. Like Metal Gear 2, like that ending was like you're fighting multiple Metal Gear Rexes, and then you're going through that whole scene. Like on top, I feel like that's more bombastic, but we haven't gotten to the part. But I do like the ending of this game more than I like the ending of Metal Gear 2 for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll ask a question to everybody when we get to the ending here, because I had a similar experience about this game. So I'll do my best to talk about this, and you'll have to forgive me because there are some parts I remember and some parts I've already forgotten because I did play like 7 hours of this game. I really enjoyed this part. I liked going back and getting the Raiden suit, checking all that, or not the Raiden suit, but the in the locker, right?
Yeah.
Getting like the two suits.
It is
and
Raiden
stuff.
suit.
Yeah, it was. So like the sneak suit was cool. Going in there as the mechanic and planting the bombs, I had no trouble with. To Preston's point, I was putting it on the ground, so I was like, well, that's a little weird. Is it going to work? But I liked the little cutscene you get after you plant the last one, and you feel good about it. I'm still a little confused on the Sorrow floating around and giving you the timer. Like, I guess he's just a spirit.
Yeah.
Like forever, he's just
Well, yeah, but he's
psychic
always been a
entity.
spirit that's
Yeah.
attached to the boss.
Yeah,
attached to the. Okay, got it.
because they're so
that's why it's
close.
flying there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked the fight with
Closer
Volgan.
than you think, actually.
Yeah, I know. We'll talk about that. I like the fight with Volgan a lot. Less so much the fight with Volgan. Although I will give them credit. I actually think he's a pretty cool boss in the sense that like I love that he walks around with like almost like when you're a kid you put keys between your fingers like right.
Yeah.
He puts bullets and he charges them and they shoot. Like that's a cool touch. But the fight with Volgan was fine. It's the Ocelot being there the whole time, which was better when he's like, shoot him, when he's like, do this, do that. And Ocelot's like, no, like you suck. Like
Ocelot's also tossing you like equipment and like, like things. Yeah.
I thought that was a good little touch, right? And like little look he gives you as he does go walk off to see where the bombs are and stuff. Like, and then when he gets into the scene where you're driving with Ocelot, he is kind of like fighting you, but it's more of like a respect thing, not like everybody else is trying to kill you. It's a distinctly different feeling every time you encounter him, and you even feel it when you come to the end and the place is
like he does want to
collapsing.
stop you, but it is like a competition.
Yeah, it's more
Yeah,
sparring.
and, like,
yeah.
And we view it as a competition, but almost like a I respect you as a young up and comer. Like you're not to my level yet, but I think you could be one day. So like as the place is collapsing and you can see it's gonna fall on Ocelot.
Yes,
we shoot
Snake
the
saves
RPG, and Snake does it because like Snake's view is like, well, we have to get out, so I need to blow it up so it doesn't block our path. But at the same time, like it was definitely saving.
It's definitely
Ocelot.
Yes.
So
That's why there's this meme that I love that's like, well, at the end, you know, like it's Snake, they're a big boss pretending there's a phone call, and then Eva like holding the phone and then being like, it's this man named Ocelot, and he says he's calling that he really, really loves you, and he like really, really loves you, and then it's like Snake being like, hello, and he's like, yes, my name's Ocelot, I really, really love you.
it is how it feels, but in a good way. Like the story is, I don't know. I never like Ocelot. The other games are like, okay, you're here, you keep popping up, but like now it actually means something. The first two games are like, oh, but this one's good.
They bring his character, God, yeah.
It is funny, the suit thing, because I literally was riding around on the motorcycle with Ava, and I'm just like, I don't know what Preston.
Why is
had a
nobody
problem
stopping me?
with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I don't understand
funny
the
that you
problem
bumped
that
into
Preston.
that. Yeah.
And then the later fight with Vulcan, it did take me a while to figure out how to defeat the Shagohod. Like I had to look it up because I was shooting it and it would like stop and get electrocuted, and I probably did that for like 10 minutes, and I'm like, okay, but why am I not doing damage? Like I can tell if I shoot the tread, it like stops. So I'm damaging the tread. I'm like, okay, now I'm shooting the other tread. Nothing's happening. And then it moves again. I shoot it, it shocks again. And I had to look it up. And they're like, well, once it's shocked, just shoot the body. I was like, oh, okay. And,
Back-
but once I
back-
figured that
You
out,
shoot
like,
the weak point in the back, but
yeah. Once I did that, I was like, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, and even the fight with him, I thought was fine too. So as a whole, so far, I am liking it a lot, and I do think that this game is the best of the 3 we played so far. My opinion it changes a little bit as from here to the end, and we can talk about it in a minute.
We'll get there.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good. I like it.
So I'm gonna go from this point because it kind of just flows. So I'm gonna go all the way to the end from here.
Sure.
So from this point on, we start trying to. We're just running from all those soldiers. So Eva's just driving through the forest, different areas, and we are just getting rid of all of the pursuers that are trying to come after us. And we take one little final jump, over this giant ravine that will sort of lead us into this lake area. And we come around the corner and we're getting pretty close to the lake. However, right before we get to the lake, they notice that the fuel tank has been shot up and is leaking everywhere. And when we look up, we realize that there's one of the trees is knocked down in front of us, and they crash, and it sends Eva and Snake flying. And when we wake up from that, or when we get up from that, I should say, we realize that Eva has been impaled on one of the branches of the log. Eva then tells Snake to leave her and to go on, but Snake says that he can't do that because he needs her. She then asks him to repeat himself, and he says it again, but then he's like, I can't fly the plane all by myself. Eva then starts to laugh hysterically, and says that she better help us out then. And we get a call from paramedic from this point that teaches us the new cure system here, where we're going to be able to cure Eva's wounds as well as ours. And once we do that, we make our way quietly to the lake through this little escort mission here, where we're basically keeping up Eva's stamina and all this other stuff.
I'm sorry.
This part...
Oh, go ahead. Before we leave this part, I have to add something because I don't want to forget by the time we get to the end, because there's a lot going on. So I don't know what happened, but after I healed her, she refused to follow me.
So during the controls, did you have to press, there's a new
triangle.
button, triangle or Y on that will call her forward.
He does this.
They tell you that paramedic tells you to press that button to call her forward.
So I did not do that in this long session. I did not go to the codec because I was like, oh, I know what to do.
It was a late night for Daddy. I know.
It was a late night. So what I did instead, because I got pissed, and I'm like, follow me. Why won't you follow me?
You did the speed running technique, didn't you?
I don't know. I tranked her
You
and
did.
just
You
carried
tranked
her
her and
ass.
dragged her. Yep.
And dude, if you trank her and drag her, I don't know why they added this. But first of all, if you pick her up by the chest, you literally are kind of your hands. It's not graphic. It's not purposely your hands are on her boobs, but your hands are kind of on her boobs. But when you're dragging her, she's sleeping and she's mumbling as she's out of it. She's like, "Oh, Snake, it feels so good right there." And then it goes further, and it's like, "Oh, boss, it feels so good right there." And then it goes further, and it goes, "Oh, Fido, it feels so good right there." And I'm just like, video game. What are we doing?
So that is a Kojima thing, but then that is technically the speed run there, where because it's easier you move faster without having to wait for her, so you trank her and then just waltz right through the mission, basically.
You didn't have to feed her either, did you?
You sure don't.
So I tranked everybody in the area, and so that's what happened. I was running through the area, and I was tranking everybody. And I was tricking everybody, and I'm like,
so you go through, knock everybody out, and then drag her.
And I'm standing here, I'm like, why aren't you following me? I'm yelling at the screen, follow me, and she wouldn't do it. So
unless she's
so then I just tranked her and took her with me, and I was like, oh, well, that was easy. So I just did it for the next 2 or 3 sections.
Yeah, it's just 2, but yes, that is very funny. That is the speedrun tech there. I know Preston. Some of us have harder times than others. Preston did tell us last night that he gunned down dozens of people before doing it the right way, so he got spotted.
Because they will continue to spawn in. They don't stop.
Yes, they will.
I
Yes,
killed
they will.
5 people.
They do eventually stop, but I think it's like
in the first section,
20 or 30
maybe no.
people.
Okay, well then yeah, because it's like they kept on spawning from the beginning of the where you were at, and I was there, and they were just popping into place. I'm like, fuck, god damn.
I can't
it's
wait.
like 20 or 30 people before they stop, and then you can go to the next section and.
I can't wait
yeah.
for Preston's stats at the end. I killed 5 people that entire game.
Yeah,
And that was in the first playthrough by accident. Like
I'm sure Preston is in the hundreds for sure. But yes, so this is that mission. So however you get through it is how you get through it. But we make our way to the lake, and once we are there, Eva tells us that the boss is waiting for us over the hill, and that she will stay and get the plane ready, and that we need to come back in one piece. And as we arrive in the field, we see a bomb go off in the distance. And then we are met with the boss setting down the mini nuke launcher, the Davy Crockett, and she begins our speech to us. So now this part and a lot of the subsequent speeches after this, I went and actually just wrote them like word for word because I think that paraphrasing them kind of will lose a little bit, right? So she says that life's end is beautiful. It's almost tragic. When life ends, it gives off a final lingering aroma. Light is but a farewell gift from the darkness to those on their way to die. And she goes, I've been waiting, Snake, for a long time, waiting for your birth, your growth, and then the finality of today. Snake then asks her why she is doing this, and she says, why, back to him, and then says, to make the world one again. The world used to be whole, but at the end of the Second World War, the philosophers began to fight amongst themselves, and the world was torn apart. The Cobras, my comrades who trained and fought alongside me, were torn apart as well. The foibles of politics and the march of time can turn friend into enemies just as easily as the wind changes. And she goes on to say, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Yesterday's ally becomes today's opposition. And this Cold War, and then she goes, think back. When I was leading the Cobras, America and Russia were fighting together. Now consider whether America and Russia will still be enemies in the 21st century. I'm going to pause here just really quick. Of all of Kojima's future guessing, this one is the one that has aged like milk because Russia and the U.S. are still definitely not friends. Anyway, she says, somehow I doubt it. Enemies, what? Well, actually, today, Kojumbo, you've done it again. I stand corrected.
You wacky son of a bitch.
Yeah, I stand corrected. She says, somehow I doubt it. And she goes, enemies change along with the times, the flow of the ages, and we soldiers are forced to play along. I didn't raise you and shape you into the man you are today just so that we could face each other in battle. A soldier's skills aren't meant to be used to hurt friends. So then what is an enemy? Is there such thing as an absolute timeless enemy? She goes, there is no such thing and never has been. And the reason is that our enemies are human beings like us. They can only be our enemies in relative terms. The world must be made whole again and the philosophers must be reunited. I will devote my skills to that purpose, and with the Colonel's money, I will achieve that end. Just as I once created the Cobras, they are my family. I may no longer be able to bear children, but I still have a family. And then from this moment, we get a flashback scene of a nuclear bomb going off in the Nevada desert, and the boss narrating this, saying that she was there in November of 1951 in the Nevada desert participating in atomic testing. She then asks us, in sort of like in a memory sort of way, where she's like that Snake was also an atomic test subject on Bikini Atoll, and tells us that part of the reason she was drawn to us is because they are both slowly being eaten away by the karma of others. She says that they will both never have a chance to die peacefully of old age, and that they have no tomorrow. She then says that they can still have hope for the future, and tells us about how in 1960 she saw an ideal version of the future from space, and that when the space race was going on, the U.S. decided to send a human being into space for data instead of chimps, and the boss was the one that they picked. Her story
is wild. This whole thing is
wild. And they picked her because there was no tech for blocking out cosmic rays at the time, and so whoever went was going to get blasted with radiation, and since she is already irradiated, it made sense to send her. Yeah. Here's the thing. And then right after this, she says, of course you won't hear this in the history books. So obviously that part never happened. The U.S. did send chimps into space, and then we sent humans shortly after. That being said, would it surprise me if I found out that the U.S. did send somebody who was already irradiated up there to just see what would happen? No. No, that would not surprise me.
I mean,
So
that was
it is one of those
if
things,
China did
Alex.
it, if Russia did it, if we did it, like, you know.
Yeah, like to your point, Alex, it's like her story is wild, but then at the end of it, you're like, well, I mean, if you're going to make a leap here, like this is one that I would believe. But yeah, so then she says that she could see the planet while she was up there, and then that's when it hit her, that space exploration was nothing more than another power struggle between the U.S. and the USSR, and that politics, the arms race, everything is just a meaningless arenas for competition. And she says that she's sure that we can understand that as well now. She then goes on to say that the Earth has no boundaries, and the irony is that the U.S., Soviet Union, and all of the other countries are spending millions of dollars to arrive at the same conclusion, that in the 21st century, everyone will be able to see that we are all just inhabitants of this little celestial body called Earth, a world without communism or capitalism, and that is the world that she wanted to see. She says that, however, reality continued to betray her, and she describes how she was there during the Bay of Pigs invasion, and how she could just watch. The only thing she could do was watch in silence as she was set up by the country that she had sacrificed so much for, and that afterwards she was driven underground into hiding. Then 2 years ago, she had to face the sorrow in battle in a kill or be killed mission from the philosophers. From there, we get some extra background on the philosophers, where Boss tells us that they were a group of people originally representing the U.S., Russia, and the Republic of China. And their first meeting was called the Wise Men's Committee, and that it marked the beginning of their organization. However, the last of the original members died in the late 1930s, and the organization began to spiral out of control and became a mere shell of itself, with the philosophers of today having no sense of good or evil, with their influence extending to every aspect of every conflict, and essentially becoming the war economy that is actually obviously still active today. She then tells us that they intend to keep this cycle going forever and ever, and that she knows all of this because her father was one of the original philosophers and told her all of this as the last remaining child of that organization. And he told her that before the rest of the organization killed him. She then goes on to tell us that the father was not the only thing that the organization has taken from her, and says that during the invasion of Normandy, she was pregnant and the sorrow was the father, and that she had to give birth while she was there. And that after birth, that child was actually taken by the philosophers during that day. Now, it's been a little bit, but do you guys remember the connection that makes in this moment?
I was trying to think about it, but I couldn't pin it down. I'm like, okay.
So when we get introduced to Ocelot in this game, we are told that his parent was delivered on a battlefield, and that Ocelot has been fighting ever since. And so this is actually where we get the connection here that Ocelot is actually the boss's child. Yep.
Interesting. Also, she shows, as proof, she shows the scar.
Yep, that's the next line here.
We can talk about it at what the ending means with that scar, but like when I first saw the scar, my first thought was, I don't think Kojima knows what a C-section scar looks like. Like it was all the way up to her neck on this thing.
He definitely
like,
doesn't,
bro.
but I think that he desperately needed that to be a snake shape, and so that's just what it was. That being said, whatever. World War II doctors were wild.
I mean, I guess if you cut her all the way from like Adam's apple, like what would be an Adam's apple down to her belly, like whatever.
But then so he shows us the scar. She shows us the scar from that day, and she says that there's still times where she feels the pain creeping up inside her, like a snake, and the scar is shaped like a snake. Mm-hmm. She then says that she has never talked about herself this much, and that she thanks us for listening to her. She then leans into a walkie and says, commence the operation. She then tells us that she raised us, loved us, and has just given us everything she could, and that all is left is for us to take her life. She says that one must die and one must live. No victory, no defeat. The survivor will carry on the fight. It is our destiny. The one who survives will inherit the title of boss, and the one who inherits that title will face an existence of endless battle. She then says that we have 10 minutes to defeat her before planes come and bomb the hell out of the entire lake area. And she says to make this the greatest 10 minutes of their lives and to prove our loyalty and then to face her. And this is where we get the boss fight. So this is essentially the last actual fight of this game. And we are in a giant sort of arena that's filled with white flowers and all these all the sort of white sort of background. And boss is obviously an all white camo during this point. And you have different options for fighting her here. You can put on camo that helps you blend in as well, and she will lose you during some of these things, and you can sort of hide and take some shots at her. You can do a CQC style battle with her and go back and forth. There's a lot of button mashing and different things that you have to do to get out of her holds and then re-put her in some. But yeah, that's really honest. The whole fight is just that back and forth is you guys sort of trading shots, running, hiding, and then at certain health impetus, she will charge you, and you have to decide. You have to try to fight back against her CQC in those moments.
But I did this. First of all, when I saw the white flowers, I saw the Scorsese meme in my head that just says absolute cinema, right? That's what I saw. But
People say that about the end here, but yes, I'll.
No, it's true. I have a different feeling on the end, but yes. But I fucked up because I immediately saw the white. I saw her in white, so I hit pause instantly and I put on the snow camo, and then I thought it would be funny to go white face paint, so I put on the geisha looking.
Yeah.
And what the game does not tell you is that if you put stuff on here, that's what you wear through the rest of the cutscenes.
Yes.
So I'm in that white face paint
up until the very, very end.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wearing the white face paint with the purple lipstick for the rest of my cutscenes.
Yikes. That would certainly be a bummer. But yes. See, we had this fight though, and then so after the fight, we are standing over the boss, and she tells us to keep the legacy safe, and then hands us the microfilm. She then tells us that it's our only hope, and then gives us her gun, the Patriot. When we ask her why, she says it's time to kill her, and that we have to do it. It says there's only room for one boss and one snake. Now, this is the infamous execution scene that everybody has either talked about in this game or leading up to this moment or anything like that. No matter how long you sit here, it could be hours, whatever, you cannot not do this. You have to shoot her.
It just automatically did it for me. I didn't press any buttons or anything like that. It just did it.
That might be a thing of easy mode. I don't actually know, but
it did it for me too. I took her out with the Trent gun, got her ammo, and then it went into a thing and did it for me as well.
Yeah, so that I should mention that if you do the non-lethal kill here, you get the snake camo going forward from this, which is it's really awesome. But that's the only time that you can get that. But yeah, so I don't know why it did it automatically for you guys. I don't know. I don't know. But you can sit here for hours. My first time playing through this game, I think I was 20 minutes, 30 minutes waiting, thinking there's no I wasn't
gonna shoot her. I'm no, I'm not gonna shoot her. See what happens.
You have to. So this actually brings me to just a quick pause here. Alex, when I told you earlier when we talked about Death Stranding, and I said that Death Stranding's ending is not it made me mad because it wasn't as good of a version as something that they had done before. This is what I was talking about, is the whole scene with Amelie at the end, I think is a way worse version of what they do here.
That will come up in my final thoughts of this.
I knew it was going to, because I figured that since you played Death Stranding first, you were going to be like, oh, I don't know. And I was I think Amelie's version is just way fucking worse in every way, but we can talk about it. But yeah, so as soon as we finally pull the trigger, all the flowers sort of turn red, and her horse comes up and also mourns her loss. So really quick here, if there's a very fast R1 or RB that flashes up on the screen, if you press this here, you actually see the spirits of both the sorrow and the boss pass on
missed it.
and pass away
here,
which I think is a really nice touch. And then right after that, the scar on her body turns into a snake and then slithers away and disappears into, like a magic dust.
Makes sense.
From there, well, this game has a nanomachine vampire that runs on water, so you had no problems with that up until this point. We then cut to the inside of a plane, or to the inside of the plane, and Eva is asking us if we're ready to go, and then she starts to take off, and we are staring at one of the pedals in our hand, and Eva asks us if we are okay. We say yeah, sort of like dejectedly, and then we let go of the pedal and close the hatch. And just as we are picking up speed, one of our engines gets shot, and it's Ocelot on one of the little flying platforms, and he boards our plane for one final showdown. So after some good old-fashioned CQC and Ocelot and us beating the shit out of each other, and Eva narrowly missing a tree line while trying to pick up speed and trying to get enough lift, Ocelot proposes a single duel with the bullet that got stuck earlier. And then flips his guns around and has us try to pick the right one. So right here, you can, between the different viewpoints, you can try to follow which gun has the thing. So if you're using R1, he'll be flipping it in front of you. And then if you let go at the right time, you'll be able to see which one he puts behind his back.
I lost it behind his back. Okay.
Yeah, and then you hold it again, and then he'll keep going, right? So you can pick it from there. It's the left gun.
I picked right somehow, but
I got lucky
Yeah.
too. Yeah, towards the end of that, I'm gonna say fuck, I was supposed to be paying attention to what gun that was. Fuck. Oh, God. I'm like, well, just walk up to one, let's choose one.
So
I'm
the
like,
nice
all
thing
right,
is that the nice thing is that no matter what, it does it. You'll still get the same ending here. But yeah, if you pick the last one, there's two different scenes here though. But I'll get there. So before choosing, he asks us what our real name is, and then tells us that his is Adamska, and we tell him that ours is John. We then pick up the... Also, really quick, I want to say there's a lot of people who think that Snake is lying here. He's not. It's just that people also call him Jack as a nickname for John, because apparently that is a thing that happened back then. And Kojima found out about it and was like, cool, Jack and John are basically the same name. People use that all the time. Great.
Is it... I don't know. Is Jack a nickname for John, or is it back in... Because back in the 60s and stuff, in the game time... saying what's up, Jack, just as a colloquial thing is also a thing. So
I don't think it's that. It was from back in the allegedly back in the 70s, it was that if you had the nickname John, people also would use a nickname like Jack, and so the boss calls him Jack and all the other stuff, but his actual name is John. So he's not lying there. But anyway, so we then pick the gun, and if we picked right, we either shoot Ocelot with a blank or we don't. So what'll happen here is when you pull the gun, both of you can start pulling the trigger and you'll start going around through here. Either A, Ocelot will shoot you with the blank and then the scene will go on as it normally would, or you shoot him or you don't. Either way, though, at the end, as long as you pick the left gun, he will say that our luck has beaten his again, and then says that till we meet again, and he jumps out into the water.
Which you're going way too fast for him to just jump out. He's just I saw it coming too. He was just anyway, so bye, and just dives.
So he
out.
sort of tucks and rolls, and you can see him sort of brace. But every single time I see the scene, I always laugh and think to myself, okay, and there goes Ocelot breaking every bone in his body. It's just. But
I did how he had him skid across the top though.
They did.
They did okay, we'll stick with the physics of it. Yeah, exactly. It was what happened.
Yeah.
So okay,
it's just that all his arms and legs would be shattered. But so from there, we help Eva pull up just above the tree line, and we were able to safely make it. We then get one final shot of the boss arena and start to fly off. But the Russian military shows up and gets ready to shoot us down, but Khrushchev calls them off the last second. And Snake and Eva share a little kiss while they fly off. And the major gives us some congrats and tells us to hold up at this place that they have out in Alaska and wait for someone to come pick him up because everyone is waiting for him at Langley. We then cut to Eva and Snake sharing some wine in a cabin, and Snake asks her if she has ever thought about coming back to America now that all this is over. And Eva says that she can't go back to America, and that Snake responds by saying, but you just saved this country and I still owe you dinner. And Eva then asks if that's part of our mission too, or if it was just an order or just an invitation or just a proposal. And then she says that she doesn't take orders from anyone now. And then her and Snake share some intimate moments with some romantic music playing on the record player. And then we cut to the next morning with Snake alone looking around for Eva, and then some narration starts. And again, just like the last monologue, I'm going to go through just like word for word actually what it says here. The narration, Eva starts by saying, "The scholars tell us that the first spy in history was the snake from the book of Genesis. In that story, it was Eve who was tempted by the snake in the Garden of Eden, but this time it was I who tempted the snake and got away with the forbidden fruit of knowledge." She says, "Forgive me, Snake," and then a photo, the photo that she took of him with goodbye, and then it's like kissed on the back here. And Snake then finds a recording that she left and starts to play it, and then that starts to play. Now, during this section, while we're listening to this message, it's basically Snake playing through the events in his head of what Eva was doing during these different steps of this message that is being recorded, right? So she says, "Good morning, Snake. I hope you slept well. First of all, I have to apologize. I wasn't sent by Khrushchev. I'm not a KGB spy, and I never worked for the NSA. I am an agent of the People's Republic of China for the General HQ, Second Department of the People's Liberation Army. It was all a lie. I tricked you, and I am so sorry. The philosophers still exist in China, too." And then she says, "You see, my mission was to find out where Volgin was hiding the philosopher's legacy and steal it, so I infiltrated his base as a KGB spy. The two NSA co-directors who defected back in 1960 were actually both men, and the real Adam never showed up at the meeting place, saving me the trouble of having to eliminate him." We'll get to that part later, obviously, but this is one of those moments where you think back and go, she never did actually answer Snake during that section for the password or anything like that. But she sneaked in pretending that she was Eva, and you, Sokolov, and Volgin, you all believed me. The philosopher's legacy was originally held in common between the U.S., Soviet Union, and China, and we couldn't let the Russians and the Americans take it all from themselves. The Chinese government has had its eye on the legacy too. I got the film containing the legacy and also the nuclear missile launch data from the Shagohod. 5 years ago, the Soviet Union stopped supplying us with nuclear weapons technology, and since then, China's hydrogen bomb and space rocket projects have fallen behind. But with this data, our country will be able to develop its own nukes and will create a deterrent force to rival those of the U.S. and Soviet Union. Everything has gone according to plan thanks to your help. I, too, am one of the philosophers. I am an agent of the philosophers and a graduate of one of their charm schools. I was raised in a joint U.S. and Soviet facility to become a sleeper agent. This was before... This was way back before the war, where they were collecting children from all over the world. And as a result, I am indistinguishable from a native-born American, so it didn't surprise me that you and Volgin couldn't tell the difference. But she knew right from the beginning. She knew because before the war, she was at one of the philosopher's schools too as an instructor. The boss was the only person that I couldn't fool. She was the only one who knew I was a fake. She told me everything. Why did she open her heart to me like that? At the time, I couldn't understand it, but now I think I do. Snake, she wanted you to know... She wanted you to know the truth. She chose me to tell you, and that's why she saved my life. I've lied to you so many times, but not this time. My orders from the government were to obtain the legacy and to eliminate everyone who knew the truth about what happened. In other words, I'm supposed to kill you, but I just can't do it. Not because we loved each other, not because you saved my life, but because I made a promise to the boss and I intend to keep it. I just wanted you to know and that you have to live. And then the tape stops and self-destructs here. We then start to see, we are fading out here and we see Snake walking through a hallway with Eva's narration continuing, saying, "Snake, listen to me. She didn't betray the United States. Far from it. She was a hero who died for her country. She carried out her mission knowing full well what was going to happen." The door opens here and we are in the Oval Office with the whole crew, the president, and some other officials are all there and they're all clapping. Eva continues saying, "Self-sacrifice," because that was her duty. Snake then approaches the president and he's given a medal to put on Snake and says, the president ends up saying here, "You are above even the boss. I hereby award you the title of Big Boss." And Big Boss then salutes the president, who says that you are a true patriot and shakes your hand. There is again another very quick flash of the R1 button here, where if you look, you actually will see Ocelot sitting on the other side of the window looking at you, and then does like the little finger guns, points at you, and then pieces out. But everyone here starts to take photos and clap. And then one of the officials goes to shake the hand of Big Boss, but he looks down and just sort of pushes away and starts to walk towards the door. One of the other guys comes up behind the official that tried to shake your hand and says, you know, we could use an infiltration unit like Fox in the army, someone like him to handle all of our top secret sneaking missions for us. A man who combines the qualities of a soldier and an agent. So obviously leading into what the next games will be here. We then cut back to the boss walking out with Eva's narration continuing, saying the boss's defection was a ruse set up by the U.S. government. It was all a big drama staged by Washington. And right when she says that, he actually pushes past the major who's trying to, say goodbye. And he walks right by him and then walks out the door. And the boss was the star of the show. They planned it so that they could get the legacy that Vulcan inherited and destroy the Shagohod all at the same time. Only a legendary hero like the boss could have earned Vulcan's trust. Finding out where the legacy was hidden was to be her greatest mission. Everything was going according to plan, but then something happened that no one could have predicted. Vulcan fired an American nuclear warhead at Sokolov's research facility. Khrushchev then demanded proof that the U.S. wasn't involved and they couldn't just abort the operation at that point to steal the legacy, so the operation itself was greatly expanded and revised. The authorities in Washington knew that in order to prove its innocence, they would have to get rid of the boss and that one of their own would have to do the job. The public could never be allowed to find out about it, and this, they concluded, would be the best way to keep it all under wraps. The boss wouldn't be allowed to come back home alive, and she wouldn't be allowed to kill herself either. Her life would be ended by her most beloved disciple, and that was the way the government wanted it. That the mission she was given, and she had no choice but to carry it out, her death at your hands was the duty that she had to fulfill. Out of duty, she turned her back on her own comrades. A lesser woman would have been crushed by such a burden. The taint of disgrace will follow her to her grave. Now we get a shot of Snake walking into a cemetery. And Eva continues by saying, future generations will revile her, and she will go, in America, as a despicable traitor with no sense of honor, and in Russia, a monster who unleashed a nuclear catastrophe. She will go down in official history as a war criminal, and no one will ever understand her. That was her final mission. Now, right when they say that, Snake is actually arriving at her grave at that moment. And like a true soldier, she saw it through to the end, but I think she wanted you, of all people, to know the truth. Snake then bends down and puts a thing of flowers at her grave, as well as her gun. So
inappropriate to just leave a gun in the open, by the way.
Just like someone's gonna pick that shit up and kill someone with it.
I know. Just puts a gun on the grave with like the ammo and everything.
I mean, it's clear. Bullet down or something like that. I get
irresponsible.
A giant weapon. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
It's her weapon. Either way. Sure. She wanted to live on in your memory, not as a soldier, but as a woman, but she was forbidden to tell you herself, and that's why she told me. Snake, history will never know what she did, and no one will ever learn the truth of her story. Her debriefing will endure only in your heart. Eva starts getting choked up at this point, and she goes, everything she did for her country. She sacrificed her life, her honor for her native land. She was a real hero. She was a true patriot. Snake then salutes the grave and starts to tear up, and we get a black screen describing the next events in history. So October 15th, 1964, Khrushchev is ousted from power. The next day in 1964, China conducts its first nuclear test. In 1965, Sigint joins ARPA and helps develop the ARPANET, which obviously goes on to be the internet. The U.S. government conducts a study on emergency medical treatment and creates the EMT system. Eva, in 1968, disappears without a trace in Hanoi. In 1970, Paramedic establishes the nation's first paramedic system in Seattle, Washington. In 1970, Major Zero disbands Fox. Same time that year. The U.S. accumulates the remainder of the legacy, and the U.S. branch of the Philosophers changes its name to the Patriots.
I loved that because earlier in the game, in our first playthrough, we're all of a sudden talking about this group of like the Cobras and all this. Now we're talking about the legacy.
She's
and
the
in my
Patriot.
head,
yeah.
Well, and in my head, all I'm thinking is like, hey, Kojima, didn't we end the last game with a stinger about these Patriots being everywhere? And then that hit
But
at
they
the
had
end.
died way back like 100 years ago.
And then that hit it, and at the end here, I was like, ooh, that's
Yeah.
that's good.
So 1971, carrying on the traditions of Major Zero and his Fox unit, Big Boss establishes Foxhound. Obviously, that is where all of the freaks that we play in Metal Gear Solid or fight against in Metal Gear Solid 1 are from. And then it ends here with 1972, the Les Enfants Terribles project, or the Terrible Infants project, and it says the sons of Big Boss are born. Right
As it
here in
goes like
1972.
boom, like with a big
and
bass
drops
drop.
it, so it ties it all together here. And from there, we get the official credits with a nice sort of acoustic melody, having finished the game officially. And then we see a title card, but then Ocelot's voice cuts in saying, yes, Groznygrad and the Granin Research Facility have both been wiped out without a trace. And this is a one-sided phone conversation, so we're only hearing Ocelot's part here. Because I understand, sir, but they were necessary sacrifices. Yes, the CIA has taken care of the boss themselves. I believe the White House will be satisfied. Khrushchev is finished. Your time has finally arrived. Yes, the American president is relying on us to keep a lid on the whole affair. We have got him by the balls, and it should make a valuable trump card in future negotiations. Yes, Chief Director, of course, I'll keep the KGB informed. Ocelot then hangs up and starts a new phone call and says, yes, it's me. The boss has accomplished her mission. The Philosopher's legacy is now safely with us in America's hands. With this money, yes, the Philosophers can finally be revived. The film we handed the Chinese was a fake. Peking must be in an uproar right about now. I'm afraid so. Only half of the money made its way back to the United States. The KGB must still have part of the legacy. Yes, the weapon has been reduced to ashes. That's right, Groznygrad has been obliterated by the Davy Crockett we brought in as well. Yes, that was the boss's work too. Speaking of which, I've just obtained something from Grandin that you might find interesting. It's a revolutionary new nuclear attack system. Perhaps it might be, or perhaps it might just come in handy someday. Obviously talking about Metal Gear here. Yes, we have Snake to thank for that. Khrushchev believed it as well. Yes, they bought our story. I don't think they'll be making a fuss. The secondary has also been lifted as well, and the Soviets still haven't discovered my true identity. They have no idea I've been triple-crossing them. I will continue my activities as a contact for the new government. Yes, it appears that nobody knew I was Adam. Of course, I'm always at the CIA disposals, Mr. Director. The 007 theme then starts to play, and we get the full title card, and then our ranking, and from there we have officially finished the game. I think, obviously I'll let you guys go to talk about your thoughts on it. I do think that this is probably one of the best endings as far as like how it makes it so that everything and any questions that you had from the first two games about like just the boss leading up, all of that lore, anything like that, it all of a sudden, all these different things that happened across this game and other ones all of a sudden make sense, right? Like Ocelot has always been in the service of the Patriots or the Philosophers, who then turned into the Patriots because he was taken as a child and turned into a soldier and has been playing all these different parts throughout his entire life, jumping around, right? So there's that piece of it. The fact that it's clear now, all of those scenes with Eva ahead of time where he's talking about like her shoes, right? Or like being careful and all this other stuff is him trying to give her a heads up, being like, I have my own mission and I cannot help you, but I know who you are and I know what you're doing and you need to not let me catch you in front of other people, like that kind of stuff. And it just makes, and again, it's all these different things that lead up to Ocelot's character where you're just like, Jesus Christ, like every single time where you think, what doesn't Ocelot know or what does he know? And then like it only till the end of the game do all these other pieces sort of fit together. I just think it does a very good job of sort of tying off any of those loose ends and things like that. But yeah, I'll let you guys because we covered a lot. So your guys' thoughts on all that stuff, and then we'll get into it.
Good.
My question here is, did Kojima peak with this game?
There's a strong argument from a lot of people that might be the case.
Let me say, because like now, I haven't played horror games, I get it, but I've now played 1 out of the 2 Death Stranding games. I've played 3 of these Metal Gear Solid games. I've played Zone of the Enders game. This story is his first perfect story. Like
So the only game that you haven't played of his is Police Knots and Boktai, which both of those are not so the thing. But he's never made any of it. So you've played most of his catalog. Okay.
So this game, story-wise, and honestly gameplay-wise, because the gameplay doesn't really change from the other games. And I'll go ahead and give away my ranking now.
I think it's just quality of life stuff, but in general, yeah.
I guess this will probably go ahead and give away my ranking as well. I think this is a perfect game. All the other games were so condensed in their little areas, like on the shell and all these other things or whatever. I'm just like, it's a massive story, but like in a little space. This is also condensed. I mean, it's just on an island, right? Like just on this one area, but it doesn't. You never think about it. Like it feels larger than life. There's so much happening, and yeah, it still has Kojima's wacky bosses, but minus the wackiness of their gimmick, the entire story from beginning to end makes perfect sense. It's not a stretch. It's not a crazy Metal Gear or anything. Like, everything makes perfect sense. And not only that, the turn of Ava, where not only does she turn and you're like, okay, she was playing a part, but then the explanation of Boss and how Boss essentially was betrayed by the government and knew what she was going to have to do and was okay with it and played her part to the end and all this. Like, it was a perfect game.
And well, not only that, but what you're like to that point, I think the truly like heartbreaking part of the story is that it's also the growth of Big Boss, right? And you see his turn to a jaded war criminal that says it now makes perfect sense with him establishing Outer Haven and saying like, fuck this, I'm going to make my own country because all of you people fucking suck. It makes perfect sense where he's like, I spent all of my life like doing all of these things for all of you people just for you to convince me that the person that I looked up most to in this world was a war criminal and that I had to be the one to take her out, only to find out after I did it that all of it was a lie perpetrated by you and that all you want me to do is continue to live out this cycle over and over again. And then he just goes, yeah, fuck that. Instead, I'm going to build my own country off the coast of Africa and tell everybody to fuck off forever.
I don't know if Kojima did it on purpose or if he accidentally caught lightning in a bottle. But the whole time you interact with Boss throughout this entire game, you know there's more than what's being said. Every time she saves you constantly, and you know she's playing this part, and you're waiting for the shoe to drop to be like, oh, well, clearly we're on the same side. And it subverts your expectations because you are, but not because the reasons you think you are. And I don't know, I think he may have accidentally backed into it, but it's literally perfect. And like, again, I haven't played Death Stranding 2. I can tell you, based on 1, it will not be as good because all the other games, like people, what I've realized have write off Kojima's wackiness by saying like Kojima's going to Kojima. So like they go, oh well, XYZ makes sense because it's a Kojima game. Death Stranding doesn't make any fucking sense, but like it's a Kojima game, so you lean into it. This game legitimately makes sense from start.
That's the thing
to
is
finish.
Up until this point, and I do think that this part continues in 4. It's just that we'll get there when we get there, but like. For a world that is established, Metal Gear does make perfect sense. Like if you are taking it within the bounds of Metal Gear, everything has an A to a B to a C to a D.
It does, yes, but like all the other games before it have had from the outside audience looking in, right? Like I'm the omnipotent audience, so I know things the game doesn't, or like I have my own opinion. So like when you see Metal Gear Ray, and you're just like, okay, big effing Metal Gear that just like right. And you see the other 3 Metal Gears like in the first game, Metal Gear Rexes, you're like, okay, you believe it because you're in the game, but like from a humanistic standpoint, like you don't believe it. But this one, from an outside perspective looking in,
Sure.
actually makes sense from a humanistic side. I give it a 5 out of 5. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, it's and the ending credit song fucking slaps. Like, it is
it's
so good.
You know what's hilarious about that? The story. So they asked him what his why he chose that song. So there was a time where he was visiting over in America, and it was while they were putting the finishing touches on the game. But he was there for a movie like that he wanted to go see or something along those lines. He was there in America. That song came over the radio, and he said that he just vibed with it so much that he was like, that's the ending credit song to our game. And just immediately just like was like, I heard it on the radio, it's perfect, I'm putting it in.
So we'll see where the rest of the story goes. I love the tie-ins that they did. A lot of the stuff made sense, but like literally just from a standalone like this game sort of thing, it's absolutely a perfect game. Like 5 out of 5 for me. I don't know what else to say there.
Preston, how you feeling?
So I feel pretty good. So if you want some of my stats, I have them here for you.
I do very much.
Humans killed 135.
Jesus Christ.
Alert phase was 46 times.
Holy fuck.
Seriously injured 40 times. Total damage 12 life bars. Plants and animals captured. I got
12 life bars?
And it says no special items not used. I don't know what special items is supposed to be, but my title was Panther. But yes,
I got Scorpion, but that is probably because I put everybody to sleep like the entire game, tranked them, so I got Scorpion on that.
But yeah, at the beginning of this, before we even started, I liked 1 more than I liked 2. I was liking 3 more than I liked 2, but I was still like, well, 1 just like seemed like a more solid kind of game. No pun intended. But yes, no, I was enjoying that more. The further we got in 3, the more I liked it. I think the turning point for me was that fucking long stair crawling up it. When the music kind of hits, it's the acoustic version of it, so it's just vocals. And it hits, like, man, this thing's got a real good fucking tone to it. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a James Bond fan, so, like, I'm really enjoying, like, what I'm kind of getting at with this. And with the changing of like the outfits to kind of like fool people, like using the maintenance one in there, the scientist one is good until like someone gets up close to your face and they can kind of notice that you're not an actual scientist.
Dude,
like,
the scientist also gives you cakes. You got hips in that.
Oh
thing.
yeah, you do. This guy, I mean, it has this like small little things here and there. Like there are some jiggle physics that you notice, like when like you're in the cave and she's like crawling towards you. I'm like, oh, those are moving more than they were moving beforehand.
I noticed that 3 times in this
last part. You see a lot more. And then they have boss, like she opens up her shirt and she's fighting you with her open chest. I'm like, okay, all right, but it's with hers was as like egregious, if you will. Like, okay, don't get me wrong, I don't mind it the entire time, but I think with her, she has to have like her jacket open. Like she was like in full uniform, like before we got in the motorcycle at the very end, and then all of a sudden she has her jacket open again, going out there. I'm like, it's not necessary, but it's whatever. It's a video game. You know, I don't know. I get that it's why it's in there, as far as it's just something you can add in. It's just some sexiness, and James Bond has plenty of that as far as weird, not unnecessary sexiness like happening throughout it. So like I took it for what it was. I really like this game.
I actually think that was one of the only things that I actually think that was intentional. I think they knew what people would think about Ava staring at her bikini boobs the whole game. And the more you stare at her, the faster you forget that she's not answering questions that, like, she's playing both sides, but you're not thinking too much about it. I actually
the whole point is
they
to
were disarming
somebody.
They disarmed Snake.
That's why I didn't understand
I actually think
the bike scene. The bike scene threw me off because she didn't have it opened up beforehand. When she's hanging out with like all the other guys out there and she's on the floor passed out and everything like that, she doesn't have it opened up. But as soon as she gets on the bike, it's like, okay, I need to open up my shirt again. It's like, well, there's no real reason for that here. But this is me being very fucking nitpicky too. So.
But I'm telling you, I don't. Throughout the game, she's disarming Snake, but in those parts, I truly think they're using it to disarm the player, so that ending catches you off guard. Is kind of the way that I felt about it.
Well, especially with the romantic moment at the end, right, where like you're sitting there and they get together and
do
these
that.
things. Yeah.
Honestly, I get that, but as far that bike scene is the one that threw me off. Like this is doing it for titty's sake, right? Like it's like we're putting it out here so that way the young men who are playing this game can have something a little bit more to watch in here. Like while we're having this cutscene, they'll like it. I get it's fine. It's also like I mentioned before, very James Bond vibes for this whole entire game. Mission Impossible vibes. There's sexiness in there that's unnecessary for all those movies as well. I'm not putting it against it. In fact, I'm not putting it against it so much that I am also going to give this a perfect score. I've given Metal Gear Solid 1 4.5. I've given Metal Solid 2 a 4.5. I'm going to give this one a perfect score. And I think the HD collection helps me as well with those new camera angles because if I had to deal with forcing to be in the bushes first person, that would have drove me up the fucking wall. There are certain things about that. I would have probably liked the pyro guy. Who's that? That's not Pain.
The Fury.
The Fury. I would have probably liked that boss battle a little bit more if I would have remembered that I could press and change the camera angle on that one. But it's all in all, I think the story fucking nails it. It's hitting James Bond vibes for me. Like I said, like that whole walking up, just going up the stairs, them forcing you to take through it. Like you do that, you do another stairwell, you do another ladder section, and they get you into a cutscene. You're not pressing up and just automatically goes you into the cutscene. And then at the very end, when you're fighting boss, you're having this beautiful fight. And then closer towards the end, the fucking music slowly starts kicking in. And I was so close to finishing her. I'm like, no. I'm just going to run around a little bit, let this all soak in, because I'm not just going to let this song like kind of barely start and then me just tanker out because I'm going easy mode. Like I want to be in this moment. Like I want to feel it. So going through all that was great. And then the small touches that you don't know. Like I completely missed out on the fact that you see her and the Sorrow going up together. Or like
I missed that too.
Off.
Yeah.
Totally fucking missed it. But it's a great, incredible touch.
And this is back, obviously Kojima is huge, but like when you get unlocks for beating the game certain ways and doing these things, he wants you to play these games multiple times to find out all this extra
and
stuff.
Don't get me
right?
wrong,
So,
like I know it's going through the last cutscene, so like with her, like even like with the shooting, I'm like, nope, I'm putting the controller down. I'm just gonna let this ride and see wherever it goes. But then they want you to press buttons. I don't like that as much. As far as I feel, it's not a cop out because what he does with it is very good, especially with like Revolver Ocelot and like paying attention to where the guns are and stuff like that. Like there's some interaction that's really cool with that. But there are some times to where like you could have just did a cut to this view, could have done a cut to that view. Like we're seeing the Shagohan getting the binoculars out. Like you don't need us to be pressing that, but they had it added in more times so that way you are prepared for it when it actually does matter. When you want to see the Sorrow holding up the Kodak number to get out. Well, also the Kodak number for the jail as well. Like there's still small stuff like that to where it's like if you weren't pressing that randomly throughout those other cutscenes, you would have easily missed because every time you get a cutscene, it's a Kojima cutscene. It's going to be at least 10 to 15 minutes long, if not 30 to 45 minutes long. So, yeah, when a cutscene happens, controller goes down the side. But I mean, since we've been doing these, I've been kind of keeping my hand nearby so I can hit the little bumper button. But if there wasn't that there, I'd be putting it right there, and I'd be missing out on so much more if there wasn't thrown throughout the game. But yeah, I think I am kind of disappointed that I didn't try these games a little bit more when I was a kid. Because obviously easy mode, I could have easily gone through these and then just enjoyed the stories, and I would have been all about this. But here we are, enjoying these games for the first time, and I think this is a 5 out of 5.
I can say that at the beginning of this year or last year, whenever we saw the announcement for Delta,
last year.
I could not have given two fucks.
I'm actually kind of wanting to see how that rolls out now.
It will be a purchase for me, and like I'm actually sad that it's not under the guidance of Kojima, like, because they've separated. But this game is so good. Like I would probably play it again on my own time to do some different stuff if it wasn't for the fact that I know Delta's coming out, and now I want to see the story again, but with updated graphics. Like it. I'm sure we've given games on this podcast. I know we've given a 5 out of 5 before. This game.
I don't think all three of us.
No, this game was fantastic.
Ace Combat wasn't 5 out of 5 for everybody.
It was for me. I don't know if everybody else gave it one.
It was.
I don't know if I've given a 4.5 or something, but
this game literally blew me away.
It's very good.
100%.
Very, very good.
Yeah, this. So I'll I'll just spoil it again. This is also still a 5 out of 5 for me. It still remains my favorite one. I do think that it's really close with Metal Gear Solid 2, especially because I do think that Metal Gear Solid 2's overall message has aged very, very well. But there is something about the way that you evolve with this story as far as Big Boss is concerned, right? Like, we start to see his character as a green, like, sort of Green Beret, like, Special Forces soldier who knows a bunch of stuff, and then goes from that all the way into the actual character of Big Boss that we know. Like, we watch his character grow this entire game, and we sort of end up growing with him, where, Alex, to your point, there's little things that get left around this game where you get to know, like, oh, there's something else going on here, right? Like, there's all these different things. And you start to grow, like, with this character and see all the story beats happen to the point where you also, at least for me, you also end up becoming jaded along with him. Where at the end of this, like, you can see it in his face, as much as the PS2 can offer, that he is visibly pissed off at every single person in that room, right? And Preston, to your point, the music helps undersell or helps oversell all of these moments that are happening, right? Like the stuff with the boss and this one, like all the music that's playing, like
The music is peak in this.
it's like there's a moment, like, when he's saluting the president, where it's like a patriotic sort of song, but it's actually very sad. Like, you can see that all of the notes are like minor notes that are like trying to make you feel worse in this moment, even though it's supposed to be this happy moment. But you're like,
we all know.
I'm pissed, and so but then Snake is also pissed in this moment, and him and Major Zero actually share a moment when he's walking out where they're looking at each other, and Zero's like, "Hey man, like, we should," and Snake's like, "Get the fuck out of my way."
Fuck no, I'm out. Yeah.
And you can see that Major Zero's like, "Oh, I'm just going to let you go. Like, I'm not even going to argue with you. Like, I'll just let you go," right? And so he goes out, and you have that whole moment in the graveyard with the boss and him saluting her and crying, because it's like this whole, like, he knows the truth now. He knows everything that happened. And to Eva's point, when she's saying this, he has to live with it. He has to be the one to live with that and not say another word going forward. He'll have to live the rest of his life hearing people badmouth the person that not only saved, the whole world from, like, a giant thing, but also, like, his mentor, the person that he cared about the most. And just when he thought about opening himself to some other person, he also was betrayed by that, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like with Eva saying, like, "Hey, sorry, I gotta leave. I'm not actually, who I say I was, and I lied to you this whole time," and all that stuff, right? I think the story is just so masterfully done. I think the cast of villains is the best one out of all of them. It's so hard for me to, and there's things that I like I guess there's things about some of the other ones and there's moments that I think are really great as well, but this one I just feel like is just pedal to the metal the entire time and just doesn't let up. And you're just going. I think it's great. It's another 5 out of 5 game for me. Alex, I am curious though, before we end here, how do you now feel about Death Stranding's ending in comparison now that you've played this one?
I feel overall with Death Stranding a little less high on it than I was than this, right?
Yeah.
Like, because it's the ending, but it's everything, because, like, the one thing I can say about Kojima is he's consistent. You can see so much of Metal Gear now that we've played Metal Gear, because I wasn't as familiar with it. Now I've played enough Metal Gear, I can see so much of everything, from the mechanics to the way they want you to move about the world and interact with people, to the wackiness that it has and all this lore. Like, I see so much of Metal Gear in it that it seems to me that a lot of Death Stranding is hidden behind a very pretty coat of paint. Very pretty, right? But, like, even the craziness of this land and lore of Death Stranding does it hit as good now? Because like I've seen that he can tell a super cohesive story that
Yes, he
makes a
can.
lot of fucking sense. And then I look over and go, but why didn't you though over here? And it's just like, oh, because like look at my friends. It's like, yeah, but this is good. So I as a whole,
It's-
like I'll play 2, but here's the thing. And let me say this. I'm sorry. I will play Death Stranding 2, and I was very excited to get to it. I keep thinking like I don't want to spend money on it, but I want to pick it up and so on. Death Stranding 2 will now be purchased after Delta. Like I will actually go buy Delta and play that first this year before I get to Death Stranding 2.
Yeah, it's like the ending for Death Stranding 1. I had it spoiled for me before I finished it forever, so I knew what I was getting into. And even then, still playing it now, or when we went to go finish it, I was still like, yeah, this ending just pisses me off. Like, mostly because you tried to capture the same moment of the ending with this game, with Norman Reedus and Amelie, where Preston, I know you didn't finish it, I know you didn't play it, but it's like, instead of standing over the boss and then having the gun sitting there and you're just basically holding and waiting for as long as you want, a similar thing happens, except that you're just running along the beach in Death Stranding, and you just run and run and run, and then you get warped back, and then you run again, and you warp back, and you run again,
Which
and
is
you do
super
it for what
irritating
feels
if
like
you
fucking
don't-
45
Yeah,
minutes.
if you
almost.
don't know
Like,
what's going
feels
on.
so long.
Yeah.
And it keeps going until finally Amelie, one of the other, she shows back up and basically says like, you have a choice. Like, the end is coming. You can either kill me now and stave it off, or we can just, blow up the whole world together right now. Like, you pick. And so you shoot her, and then it's supposed to be this whole thing of it's very sad for Norman Reedus' character, and this whole thing. But as somebody who's played some of his other games, it did feel cheaper to me, because I'm like, well, dude, you're just doing what you
Just
did
did it
before,
again.
but this is with characters that I feel less invested in and don't care about as much.
but that's the key, right? Like your interaction with Amelie the entire game is via the beach and a hologram, and
Yeah.
you're told pretty early on by the bad guy and some of the other characters that like Amelie isn't what she seems. Like, she has her own motives for doing this stuff, where in this game, you as the player, it's never said that something's up. Like, they do everything they can in the game to be like, this is who Boss is. She's running this. And you the whole time as a player going, well, this doesn't quite feel right. But in Death Stranding, it's just like, it's not what it seems. Just wait. She has her own stuff. So like, you never get the investment in the characters that you build naturally in this game.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, all right.
I mean-
Well, then that is it. So we finished Snake Eater. We have 2 more games left in this Metal Gear thing. So Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, and then obviously we're going to finish it off with Metal Gear Rising. But that is it. We have finished Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater.
Well, why don't, between the Snake Eater game, or between Metal Gear games, why don't we take a detour to hell, and we are gonna play. We're gonna play Rise of the Tomb Raider. Remember, we did Tomb Raider 1, which is a 30-year-old game where we got to look back at that. This is the reboot series, and 10 years old this year.
Remind me.
So
Is this the first one or the second
Which
one?
one of the
Second.
trilogy is it?
This is the second one. It
Got it.
is.
I've never
Yeah,
played
the
this
first
one then.
the first one was called Tomb Raider. The second one is called Rise of the Tomb Raider. Third one is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I will give everybody a recap when we get here next time. For the listeners, if you want to watch YouTube video, by all means, I didn't want to pull one up just to get a recap. What I would recommend is play it on an easy difficulty. There's 4 difficulties. The second one is normal. The third and the fourth, they overtuned to be like hard on purpose. But like, we're not here. We're here for the story and the look back. We're not here for too much more. So like, if you want to play it on easy, right? This game is somewhat open world. Like, there are places you can go off to the side and get lost. So if you play it on an easier setting, it'll keep it an average play length. I don't want you to get caught in a section for way too long, right? Like, because that's not the purpose. And I'll send you guys probably some questions throughout the week during these playthroughs of like things to think about in relation to like the game and the industry 10 years and so on, because it is a look back at that. So we are going to play until you get the mission called Alone Again.
Okay.
This game does not have hard breaks for levels, and the way you get missions is it just kind of pops up in a small banner across the top. It'll be like gray, and it'll show like arrows, and it'll give you like a new title. That's how you know what the mission is. But the game itself is cutscene heavy if you remember the first one, and that doesn't denote new missions. So like you're gonna be running through like the wilderness, and it's gonna be like Alone Again. Cool.
And you stop.
That's where you stop. We'll use that to judge the time and see what we're gonna do. It's either gonna be 3 or 4 parts. We're not quite sure yet. I'm hoping to lean more towards the 3-parter, but also that'll determine, like, that's why I play it on easy. Because remember, there's like crafting and other shit that you can get lost in that I don't want you to get lost in.
Don't worry.
Don't worry about me.
I know. God, you're not kidding. For me, I was looking forward to this game, but now, like, I'm actually just looking forward to playing Metal Gear Solid 4. So, like, let's just.
I wasn't saying it like that. I was saying, of all people, you don't have to worry about me getting lost in crafting.
I know. I will say, like, I am looking forward to this game enough. I really liked this reboot series. I really liked Laura in this. I did play these games when I had the Collectathon sickness. So I'm sure there will be, with rose-colored glasses for me, and it'll be interesting looking back at it, because I don't play games that way anymore, and this is a Collectathon, like, in a lot of ways. It's kind of a similar game. So, yeah, that's it. It'll be next time we get together, part 1 of Rise of the Tomb Raider from 2015, a 10-year look back. And, yeah, hopefully everybody listening was also playing through Metal Gear with us. If you haven't played it 3, I would seriously recommend picking up Delta. I'm gonna I want to live the story again in better graphics. I think it looks exciting and the story is incredible. I can't wait. So good.
Also, I will say it is shocking that when you play through this game, even the Master Collection, it still looks pretty good even for a PS2 game, dude.
Until you get to like mouth movement and stuff like that, but yeah.
We don't have to go down this road, but like there is part of me that was like, I just kind of want to play it again there to not give Sony the money or whoever, Konami, like the money, Konami, not associated with Kojima, the money for this game, because that's all they're doing is cashing in on a great game. But at the same time, like, it looks real good.
It does look, for sure.
But all right, everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. We'll be back with you next week, and then don't forget to check out Preston on Sundays with Star Wars Sundays. And with that, Preston, you know what to do.
Hit it.
Thank you for listening to another episode of The Testing Room. To catch up on past episodes or to check out the newest ones when they drop, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcast. If watching is more your thing, check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/@thetestingroom, or watch us live on twitch.tv/testingroomlive. To leave comments or ask questions, you can follow us on Instagram @testingroompod, leave a comment on YouTube, or send them in to testingroompod@gmail.com. See you next time.